Hi, it's Wasabi. Welcome back to the channel. Got a battle on the Karelia map, and it's Fury from Clan, and this time he's in a heavy tank, the Conqueror Tier 9 British tank. He's platooned again with Maka, who is in a Repeatable 66. So they're heading to the battle area around the donut. It's typically for heavy tanks and tank destroyers. So top tier is tier 9 in a tier 9, tier 8 game. There's quite a few hold down positions around this area, so it can create interesting battles that hard to dig out. The tanks that go down below, as long as they don't expose themselves too much, so we're going to see a bit of that action here and just see how they deal with it. Alright, so there's an example. G-Saw, Fury puts in a nice shot there. Maka's taken a bit of damage already, being in a very forward position. So another hit goes into the G-Saw, that will make him be a bit more careful, but it doesn't give him any time because now he's Maka's sent him back to the garage, so a bit too forward a position there. But the interesting thing is that creates a wreck that other tanks could hide behind, so I'll see if that plays a part. So early days yet. Maka bouncing some rounds. Okay, they have found a Nameless. That's premium tanks that only exist on the Asia server. And he's just wiggling to try and make it difficult to go through the commander's hatch. Not a bad tactic if you can manage it carefully. But he's very much a one-shot to the Conqueror, who's doing over 400 hit points of damage to tanks that they can penetrate. So see what happens there. Okay, Wheelie's just gone past, and now Tortoise has appeared in that hold down position. So Fury prioritising the Tortoise here. Not a bad choice, given that it's got a fairly rapid firing gun, so it can put out a fair bit of damage. But yeah, it goes through the side of the turret there, or the casemate I should say. This is a casemate TD. But he takes some heat from the Tortoise, not literally, it was armor piercing, so not too bad shooting from the Tortoise, but he's managed to put a bit of damage in there already. He's going to try and keep the Tortoise's head down by putting it rounds, and he takes another hit from the Tortoise, so it's taken him down to about half health, so nothing tragic at this stage, but he's just trying to be careful here and push that Tortoise back. And you can see Fury's only got the APCR rounds loaded, apart from a small number of, I think they're Hesh rounds actually. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, they are. So Hesh rounds that you do need to penetrate to do damage, so you'll have better luck with the APCR, but again the Tortoise has got some elements of strong armor, so you're going to have to aim fairly carefully. Now some more TDs come up. There's a T28. And there goes the Wheelie, who hits but only hits the wheels, and Fury doesn't reload until he gets out of range, but Maka's managed to hit him and set him on fire. And there we go. T54 comes up and tries to do something and gets penalised for it. So Maka doing a good job of holding onto his hit points and staying in that forward position. Fury just trying to get a shot in on the Tortoise as he goes past, and manages to do that. And there's a T28. So going for the commander's hatch is really the only viable shot there when they're hull down. But A, you've got to have a good view of it, and B, be able to aim in carefully because it's a pretty small target. And there's the tortoise again coming to that fairly forward position, but he's exposing a bit too much of his unprotected part of the frontal armour. But again, it is a pretty small area on that tortoise, so Fury's down to only 12 shots of his APCR, so we've got two targets there, the commander's hatch, which he does go through and leaves him on 55 hit points. It's a bit unfortunate, but what can you do? And that tortoise there, that pays the price, and you just get rid of him. But Fury's down now, he's only got 14 rounds total left, and we are only in the 4th minute of the game, so fires at the T28, uses another one of his precious rounds, and that doesn't go through. So what do you do in this circumstance? Let them push a bit further forward, probably, but Fury's team now in a bit of a hole. They're 2 tanks down, and they're about 3,000 hit points down, so need to do something to rectify that. Well, it's helping, so he gets rid of the nameless, and luckily the T28's not yet in a position to get his gun on, and as he backs up to try and get this gun on, Fury manages to get a nice shot to connect and penetrate. And that T28, probably one more hit if you can get in the right area. Well, that wasn't one of them. He'll be out of the game. So they've managed to even up the score in terms of tanks, but they are still a bit down in hit points. They need to get rid of that T28, otherwise they can't push around onto the T54. And there's another unsuccessful shot. Oh, and here comes another TD, so T28 prototype. Now that one's probably a little bit easier to penetrate than the T28, but you can just see it's got a pixel there at the top. And a quick snapshot, he managed to go through the commander's hatch. Luckily Mac has gone down into that low area and trying to get some frontal shots or lower shots on, which he might get more vision of, but I think where they're playing is where the G-Saw, there you go, the G-Saw body just in front, so they're probably using that as a bit of a shield. So definitely playing a part in this part of the match. Fury down now to 3 shots of his premium round, and that one didn't go through. Now he's got 2 shots of it left. Needs to get some results here, and luckily pays off with that one, gets the kill on the T28, but that's 1 round of premium ammunition left. And he fires that on the T28 prototype, and unfortunately it doesn't connect. So they've managed to claw back a bit here. They 2 guns up, although still a slight deficit in hit points. They need to push the T28 to get anywhere. He's fired a Hesh round and it's not connected. There's really just a pixel shot on the T28 prototype. Mac has managed to get some shots in, and the T30 that's backing him up gets the kill. So that's a pretty expensive operation there. Fury's managed to get nearly 5k of damage out of that, but he's used almost all of his ammunition just in that particular fight. Now, what has the enemy got left? They've got a 122 TM. It's a fairly hard-hitting tier 8, but with quite a fairly long reload. Then there's VK 100.01P, very strong frontal armour and a big alpha gun, but weaknesses in the side. A Leopard PTA, which good view range and a punchy gun, and then an AMX 5120. So some fairly formidable targets there, and Fury pretty much out of the game now, apart from being able to spot. So you can take a couple of hits, but if say the 5120 finds him, he might get clipped out. The Leopard PTA, last seen in this middle area. also the 122 PM could all basically tag him almost at the same time if he gets spotted. So Fury taking a fair bit of a risk here getting across the map, but he wants to light up any targets that are up the top. And obviously he's coordinating with Macca to get Macca's gun. Okay, so the 122 TM's been spotted. He's gone round the top area. Let's keep an eye on the mini-map there. Yeah, Fury just checking to see whether he's got a shot on that 122 TM, but he's well behind cover there. Fury not being spotted at all himself and hasn't spotted anything. Alright, he's got a UDIS 14.5 coming up to help him now. Not the fastest heavy tank, the Conqueror, but it's not too bad. Alright, so a bit of trades going on there. The G-Saw 188 destroys the AMX 5120, and that's Targo from BD Clan there. But the 122 TM takes out the T30, so that's annoying. Lost a tier 9 tank destroyer. So this coming around here, last seen area of the VK. The VK also not known for speed, but it hasn't been seen for a while, so he's either here waiting and laying a trap, or he's gone back to base, which is probably the most likely scenario. Now the UDIS he's with might have better view range, so that's useful. And then they got a super Pershing. Now unfortunately Mac gets taken out by the Leopard PTA. Leopard PTA has just been spotted, and the VK100 has also been spotted. So there's two tanks back on base. The 122 TM gets taken out by G-Saw, so good play there by Nuclear NZ. It's a pretty ironic name given that the NZ doesn't allow nuclear traffic. Now this is Hesh round at work, 51 hit points of damage. He's got 2 shots left. Can he get the next one in? Possibly went in, but damage unlikely, or unlikely to penetrate. So not a great outcome there. This Leopard PTA fires a snap towards that, but pretty sure that wouldn't have been able to connect. PTA takes out the G-Saw, so that's unfortunate. It does take a hit from something, that it might have been the UDIS firing towards the Leopard. But Fury now with no rounds left. So what can he do? Well, he can spot, that's for sure. Oh, and finally the AMX AC-48 has come up and takes out the Leopard PTA, so that's pretty useful. And the UDIS has gone to tackle the VK100 and taken a big hit. So this is not what you want to do in a medium tank, take on a VK100 front on. So Fury asked the UDIS to back off, and he'll come and take the front position. So what can you do without ammunition? Well, let's have a look. The main thing is to try and get in the way between the tank that you're all targeting and the tanks that are low hit points like the UDIS, and basically use your hit points to protect them so that they can get some shots in. Now unfortunately it doesn't arrive in time to protect the UDIS. The UDIS not playing very smartly there. And now we've got a Super Pershing who's also taken a hit. And if Fury's coming down here, the Super Pershing taken down to 33 hit points. This is exactly what Fury's doing. So he's getting in the way of the VK. Takes a hit, but that's okay. He's still got some hit points left. And he's really just trying to block the gun so that the Super Pershing can get a shot. Now the Super Pershing needs to be part of this and A, get out of the way of the VK gun, but also get a side shot in on the VK, which he manages to do, so that's good. The VK's still got 800 hit points though, so a bit of work to do. There's only 24 seconds left, so I don't think this is going to end up in a win, but can it be a loss? That's what they need to stop happening. So just trying to get in the way. AMX AC-48's coming up. Will he get there in time? Well, the BK takes out the Super Pershing, so that's unfortunate. There's only 5 seconds left, so I think it is all over. AMX is arriving, but not enough time to do any damage, and that is the end of the game. So it's a bit unfortunate, ends up in a draw, but luckily not in a loss. So of course a draw is as bad as a loss in terms of your statistics, but at least it means the enemy didn't get a win. That's the only real satisfaction you can get out of that. In any case, he got a first class mastery badge there, the high caliber award for the most damage, getting 5k, and the Spartan award for getting hits while he was less than 10% of health. Finished on top of both teams in terms of damage quite substantially, and in experience as well. Macca got 4.3k, so together they did 9k overall, and the rest of the team did substantially less than that. And on the enemy side, Jehovah, I love that name, from J Clan, did 2.7k, but again finished well on top of experience from his team's perspective, so well done to him. That was Tiger from Fiddy Clan in the AMX 5120, who did 3.6, and the Tortoise did 3.6 as well, so good performances from those players as well. And that was tricky from Fiddy Clan in the EBR, who was scouting around before, and unfortunately didn't have much influence on the game as he would have liked either. In any case, what did it cost him to play? 35 shots fired, every single piece of ammunition he had, 24 hits, 14 penetrations, 2 splash damage. There would be 2 HESH rounds that he fired at the VK, so no penetration, and just did splash damage. So as we saw, the first one that we actually saw hit did 50, and we can imagine that the second one did similar. That was the blind shot that we thought might have connected. He got some payments, which is handy, but he fired all premium ammunition, and he had some consumables running, which he had to pay for. So it didn't obviously stock up in the sales. So it did cost him 36k. So that's a bit unfortunate, but it is tier 9, and it does cost money to run tier 9s typically. So another great game there from Fury. Pity that he couldn't carry it with Macca, but it is all good instructional information. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing to the channel, or more great content through the week. And thanks for watching.